Look at this right here. Stay tuned. What's happening, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. So now this is an exciting video I want to do, as you saw from the intro and little tidbits I threw out there. But this is the INVERTER. It's an inverter generator. It's 4,300 watt gas powered portable generator, and it's not loud, guys. As I'll pull up something on the side, it's around 93 to 95 decibels, somewhere around there. It's not that loud. Obviously I use my my decibel meter to get something accurate. It's believe me, it's not that loud at all, and I put it up close. Now the reason why I love the fact that INVERTER sent this to me, and thanks again INVERTER, is because I do a lot of shows, especially like in the summer, and half of the shows I do with my fully built Subi here, half of the shows I do, it's outside, and when it's outside there's a lot of ambient noise, DJ stuff like that. So let me tell you right now, 94 decibels, it's pretty much nothing to drown out, because ambient sound right now, I'll show you just for shits and giggles. You turn this on. Ambient sound right now, without me speaking, is about 50 decibels. With me speaking is about 82. Yep, like anywhere from 79 to 82. And with this on, it's like 94. So believe me when I tell you, it's literally nothing. It's literally nothing. I just want to run down a couple facts with you guys real quick. Guys, remember, they give you everything that you need, as you've seen in the introduction. Obviously, you use a manual, you have a quick start guide. I'll go over that in a second. Guys, by no means, you just use the quick start guide and don't read your manual. In the manual, they show you everything that you need to know, what to unscrew. Especially the first thing you got to do is add oil. That's why I have this portion off. I'll go over that as well. First thing you got to do is add oil before you even attempt to start it. They even have a warning sticker or warning label right here for you to read. Okay, they give you a screwdriver. I would tell you guys, this screwdriver, it fits perfectly, but you need a longer one for a little more torque for some of these Phillips head screws. So if I were you, I would get a slightly longer one. Like this one made a huge difference, you know, as far as weight and length. So I would definitely do that. I think this is a spark plug tool right here. This will fit into the spark plug, and you put the screwdriver right through this hole to turn it off. They even go over gaps of the spark plug in the owner's manual, like if you got to change it. They go over everything that you need in the manual. For instance, the first 5 hours of running this, that's the engine braking. So once you break in the motor for the first 5 hours, drain the oil, change it again. Guys, they recommend 10W30. I put in AMSOIL full synthetic 530, which is the best range. In case you don't know about oil, obviously oil cleans, cools, lubricates, and seals. In case some of you guys don't understand the numbers, the 5 to W, it stands for winter. So 5W and 10W, the only difference is that the 5W can freeze down to a lower temperature, meaning you can run the generator in a colder temperature than 1030. The 30 is the viscosity of the oil. So 530 and 1030, it's the same thickness. You get what I'm saying? So the 5W30 is perfect. Now, let me just, I know I'm jumping around here. So the first thing you do when you add oil, okay, they give you your funnel over here. I put some paper towel at the end of it just to catch any droplets. They give you your funnel. This thing takes around, I would say, about a half a quart of oil. And when you add oil, there's some hash marks on that stick. Just fill it up to right where the hash marks, you know, right around where it ends. But I would say it takes around about half a quart, somewhere right around there. I think they call 0.47 or something like that, right around a half a quart. And that's the cool thing about AMSOIL. It supersedes manufacturer's specs anyway. Like for instance, with AMSOIL, I run my cars, my wife's car, oil gets changed every 10,000 miles. My daughter's car, same thing, and that oil is never black. So the oil can run long, very, very long. So which means my braking for this can even be longer, but I'll just do it for shits and giggles. Anyway, they give you all your accessories that you need. They give you, obviously, as I told you before, the Phillips head, spark plug changer. They actually give you a 12-volt cigarette lighter, battery charging cable. They even give you a plug. This plug here, it's a 120 volt. This is for an RV. Okay. You also have another. You have another 120 over here, and obviously you have your various fuses for it. This one corresponds to this 20 amp fuse. In case you trip the fuse, this one corresponds to a 30 amp. As I said, this is for RV. So once you add oil, okay, you put gas. Guys, one thing to remember, don't overfill it with gas, because you don't want the gas, like when it expands, you don't want it running into something else and flooding anything and starting a fire. Obviously, I don't have to tell you this is a generator, so make sure you're operating in an open space. Yes? Yes. Now, in the manual, it tells you, I'm talking about maintenance times, everything that you need to do, where you could do it yourself. Initially, this body is right here. There's tabs. I'll show you real quick. There's like rubber push tabs this goes into, and you have these two small Phillips head screws right here go into here and here. Okay, this port up here, you slide that off. This is where your spark plug is, up here when it's time to change it. Okay, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I'll just pull this back out so at least it's easy for you to see. Make sure this bad boy is snug. So I've been running it, testing it. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. So they're talking around, I think at 50% load, you're looking at somewhere around 4 hours. Now this is a 4300 watt. 4300 watt is the starting watts, because you need extra power to start this thing. The actual running watts is 3450. Now I know you're probably asking yourself, what's the difference between running watts and starting watts? So 3400, like 3450 running watts is the amount of electricity that you need to continuously run appliances with a generator. Okay, that's continuous energy. Okay, so for example, a generator like this, you can power possibly some lights, maybe a sump pump, a small refrigerator, maybe a small fan, something like that. Okay, so, and that's what I was trying to tell you about running on starting watts. The starting watts, that's where you need that extra electricity to start the unit. Okay, so I know a lot of them advertise the bigger wattage, but the bigger wattage is to pretty much start the unit. Now guys, to just go over some of these buttons right here, you have your digital display right here. This right here, it's your low idle push button. Okay, so this is going to illuminate green, I think, as you saw from the clip. Okay, if you push that button, what'll happen is it's going to speed up the idle a little bit, like say for instance, if you have you know, some type of load, and obviously it is gonna, you know, burn more gas and it's gonna lower your runtime. Okay, this is your oil indicator right here. Okay, it'll flash red. Okay, when that flashes red, that's if the oil falls below operating or safe status, and the generator is going to automatically shut the engine off. Okay, and you won't be able to start it again until you put a proper amount of oil in the crankcase. Just remember that. Okay, right here, this is your overload reset button. Okay, it illuminates when the generator is overloaded. Okay, so if you go over the wattage amperage capacity, once you exceed it, okay, it's like creating a power surge in the generator. So the engine will continue to run and this will stay on red. So just obviously, guys, while you're running this, keep in mind just to pay attention to it. Obviously, if you're not running anything crazy, you don't have to worry about really looking at it. Okay, now once this turns red, it'll stay on and the engine will run, but power will not be supplied to whatever accessory you have plugged in. Okay, so what you have to do is, and this is very important, guys, before you start this up and shut this down, make sure you pull out all your plugs. Don't have anything plugged in there before you start up and before you shut down. So let's say this light came on and the engine is still running. Unplug everything, shut it down, restart it, plug the stuff back in, and the light should go off. This panel right here with the 3 dots, that's your select button. So when you press that, it's going to display like fuel quantity, your voltage, power output, single running time, and total running time. Okay, now this button right here, this is very, very important. This is a carbon monoxide. It's like a watch guard indicator, they call it. Okay, it's red for shut off, yellow for service. So hopefully that, you know, never comes on. That's why you want to leave this in a very open space. But it monitors the accumulation of carbon monoxide around the unit. So when it detects large levels of CO or carbon monoxide, it'll shut itself down, which is definitely you want, because you just don't want to die. Okay, right here you have your 12 volt DC. That's your cigarette lighter port right here, and that supplies about around 8 amps, somewhere around there. Okay, this, you have your DC 9 amp circuit breaker right here. Okay, so if that trips, obviously, you know, press it back. So you have this switch right here. This is for your start, run. When you're initially going to start this, you turn it all the way to start, pull it, the idle is going to sound like it's choking a little bit. Once you get passes, like I would say, about 5 seconds, put it to run. Guys, when you turn this to run, before you plug anything in, let this run for a couple of minutes. Let the unit run for a couple of minutes to acclimate itself and get everything steady before you start plugging in a lot of load in it. Okay, right here you have your USB type C and USB type A. Okay, so, and it supplies about 5 volts at about 1.5 amps. It's nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying? I think I touched on this before. This is your it's a 30 amp 120 volt AC power outlet. This is, especially with this plug right here, it's like an RV plug, almost like, I don't know if you have a swimming pool, but like my 220 amp plug looks just like this. And this bad boy right here, that is your 120 volt 20 amp. It's a 60 hertz outlet. Okay, so this is your breaker for it here. It's a 20 amp breaker. This is a 30 amp breaker for this one right here, guys. And this is your ground. So now, if you're running this outside, if this generator is not connected to any type of structure, like for instance, like let's say a trailer, like an RV, or like a house, if it's connected to that, you have to ground it to the house. Okay, you have to ground it to the house. Remember that. If you just have it outside, like I showed you before, running it at a show, or just to power up anything that's not connected to like a structure, you don't need to ground it. These ports right here, okay, that is your outlets for parallel use. So I have 2 batteries in my car. Let me just explain that. And the batteries are connected in parallel, so it increased the overall power of the batteries, like watt hours, but it didn't increase the voltage. So the entire system is still running at 12 volts, okay? But it increased the amount of time the accessories or the batteries can be used, like at a show. So when you run this in parallel, they have a little picture right here. When you run that, when you plug that in and you run it in parallel, what'll happen is you're increasing the overall run time of the unit. You're not necessarily increasing the voltage of the unit, because if I connected the batteries in series in this car, it'll be running at 24 volts and it'll blow out every accessory and everything else I have, probably every fuse in the car, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, so that is a little bit of introduction into this portion of the unit. All right, guys, so the weight of this unit is roughly around 50 pounds. Okay, you can easily pick it up. The only thing is it's just a little bulky, so it feels like it's more than 50 pounds. But it's around, it's like roughly around the weight of like a gym plate. I can compare it to like when I'm at the gym. So it's nothing crazy, but this is something that is really, really cool to have. I actually have the side panel off right here still, so the unit could cool faster while I'm testing everything. You can leave it on, you can leave it off. Obviously, guys, if it's like a windy, dusty area, you know, you do whatever you do to protect your unit, okay? And I just want to show you the starting process. As I said, the first thing you do, you add oil, okay? Once you add oil, you put the fuel in there. And as I told you before, do not overfill the unit, close it until you hear the clicks, okay? Now then, initially, now this unit is warm, so it might either start on run or start. But if the unit was ice cold, it'll be in off. You turn it all the way, start, and you just pull the pull cord right here. So now what'll happen is, if it doesn't start, because obviously the unit is warm, you put it on run. And there you go. Mode right here. If I press that, see how the idle kicked up? So eco mode should be enough. Most definitely should be enough. And this is your selector button right here. That is going to tell you voltage, frequency, total run time. And once you plug something in, it's going to show you the power draw. So just remember that. And that's really it. This thing is a freaking fantastic unit. And as I showed you before, so once you have it running, I'm going to show you what I'll be doing at shows. Bring this bad boy over. As I told you before, while it's running, then you plug your accessories in. And as I told you, let it run until it warms up to acclimate itself. And you're going in here. I got power, and it's charging. That's it. So this, I would say this should last me at least 5 hours, minimum 5 hours at a show. Because it's running, at cruise control pretty much. You know what I mean? That's really to it. Now obviously once I put on my lights and my accessories and stuff, it's gonna have some load to it. But other than that, it's not too shabby. So guys, I put back on the side panel, and as I'm speaking, obviously this is the decibel rating. But it did get a little bit quieter. Watch. Over here it's 94, so the further, you know, I mean, this is about 10 feet away. Not too bad. And remember, it's where the walls are, so there's echoes. So I'd say the average is, I would say, somewhere around 70 if you're in close proximity to it. So let's add a little bit of load to this.
Can't wait to test it with every single, like, you know, all my LEDs. Let me turn on the wheel lights. Still at 0.2 to 0.3. Nothing crazy. And I actually like that it has like a fuel gauge as well. Let's turn on some more stuff here. License plate on, that stuff on, this sucker on, ambient lights on, everything in the hood. Still at 0.3. Not too shabby, guys. Not too shabby. So guys, definitely like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna give you a link to their store on Amazon. You can take your pick of which option you want. This is the 4300 watt. That's the max output. It's 3450 running watts. It's a lot of watts. And they also have a 10,000 watt as well available. This costs around 500 bucks, and they actually have coupons. They actually have clipping coupons. I think it's like 5 something with the coupon plus tax. Yeah, I think it's like 500 or 520 or somewhere around there. But for that price, this is a really, really, really good unit. And it's quiet. Look at this stuff go. You can't beat that. INVERTER, once again, thank you so much for sending this for me. This is something that I've been talking about for a while, and I finally got it. Again, guys, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys soon. INVERTER, thank you very much. Take it easy.